entering a brave new world for Super Rugby. 3 new teams, a new format, 5 countries. Exciting times, or more unnecessary confusion. Sterling Mortlock, hello to you. What do you make of it, mate?
Well, you're right. It is. There's a lot of new scenarios that play out in this expanded Super Rugby year, but I think it's exciting. There's 3 new teams. A Japanese team, the Sunwolves, adds a lot more travel in there. And then, likewise, the Kings are back, but the Jaguars from Argentina, and I think they're going to be a surprise package. So,
all year, I'm going to have to say Jaguars. Am I? I can't just go with Jaguars?
Well, it's funny, you know, Matt Giddo, one of his nicknames was actually the Jaguar. So right. I can't help going there always.
Right, OK. Yeah, well, I think we've officially decided we're going with Jaguars as well. But even Les Bleus doesn't sit too kindly with me. I prefer to call the French the Blues. Can you explain the conference system? Because it is a little complicated.
It's a little complicated, but effectively between Australia Conference, New Zealand Conference, nothing much has changed. There's 5 in each. The South Africa Conference has effectively been split in half. There's 4 teams on one half and 4 teams on the other, and the Sunwolves and the Jaguars go in, and the Kings obviously have come back too. So Australian teams will only play one side of the South African Conference. That's the easiest way I can describe it, mate.
Right. Is that a good thing?
Yeah, it actually puts a lot more spin on getting a good draw. So I don't know. There's a lot of scenarios to play out. However, I think the great thing about it is that yes, we have expanded, and yes, it puts a little bit more onus on the travel. And travel has always been a significant component of the Super Rugby, and for the managers and the coaches to understand the impact of travel and to adjust your schedule and your training volume accordingly. So that's going to be bigger, but we're expanding and we're getting into Asia. And as we saw during the World Cup last year, you know, the cherry blossoms, the support that Japan has got now for rugby, it's going to be exciting times.
I really hope they do well so that support carries over through Super Rugby, because they were so impressive and, of course, caused a fair boil over in the process as well. Who do you rate as Australia's best chance?
Well, it's a tough one because logically, and also my background, you know, 13 years with the Brums, I'm saying the Brumbies last year, losing to the Hurricanes in sudden death, I'm sure they feel like they've got unfinished business. So that's where, you know, this weekend's match, Brumbies v Hurricanes, is going to be an absolute cracker. But logically as well, I think what Daryl Gibson has done with the Waratahs and the things that I'm hearing as far as culture, you know, extending that from what Michael Checker has done, he's brought in some fresh blood as well. They'll go very well too. But I can't help going back to my roots, mate. I think the Brumbies are going to do really well this year. Well,
just on those Brumbies, you never know. Perhaps we're going to see a precursor for the final in round 1. But more gone at the end of the year, Timur gone at the end of the year, Pocock as good as gone at the end of the year. So if they are going to do it, it really does have to be this season, doesn't it?
Well, there is a lot to play for. It's an interesting one that, you know, Steve Moore, that's been, you know, such a good performer, but I guess he was originally from Queensland, so that makes sense that he's going to go back there as well. Yeah, and then you mentioned
Dave. That hurt you saying that.
Yeah, it does. However, you know, I always thought I'd play for the Brumbies and end up finish up my career at the Rebels. You know, that's the nature of the beast nowadays. So it is what it is. But as you said, I think the Brumbies have got a lot to play for, and this year they brought Christian Leali'ifano as co-captains with Steve Moore. I think it's a great appointment. Christian Leali'ifano, he's got a lot to play for this year, and I think he's going to have a big year as well. And having the skipper tag, I think it's going to be good for his game. I think they've got a lot to play for, and I'm excited to see how they go. Pocock with the sabbatical's an interesting one as well, though, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's difficult to stomach if you're an Australian rugby fan, but at least he has committed to coming back to feature in a World Cup, so we have that. It's not all doom and gloom.
Yeah, look, I think there's been a lot of talk about it. The reality is these sort of situations and scenarios have been going for a long, long period of time. I mean, even Joe Roff, way back, I think it was in 2004, he had a sabbatical, went over to France for a year, came back and had one of his best years ever the year after. It has been going around for a while. New Zealand have definitely done it with some of their stars as well. I think it increases longevity in particular for guys that have been committing hard. And you look at Dave Pocock, he's been through just a tough run with injuries, getting back, and he had such a big year last year. I think if that's what we've got to do to manage him, to get the best out of him physically and even more so mentally, it's a great thing, good initiative.
28 though. These are his peak years. Thanks for coming in, mate. Appreciate
Pleasure.
it. I'm looking forward to a big year of Super Rugby.
So am I.
So is Fox Sports. Former Super Rugby Player of the Year, Sterling Mortlock there.